Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are back with a special video on this lovely Wednesday. We are joined by the man himself, Stevie from 4LADSHADADREAM. I'm sure you guys already know all about him. He's kind of the go-to guy for anything Rangers, so that is why we've got him here today. And Stevie, how you keeping, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm not too bad, mate. A wee bit of sore throat, but it's just because I've been shouting a lot recently. That's all it's been. It is indeed, mate. So we've actually known each other for a wee while now, and we've been talking about doing a video for it seems like forever. We've never really had that subject to sort of dive our teeth into and start. And by God, have we got one today, Stevie? Eh? We've been supplied with a masterclass it's starting to discuss. So we're going to be talking about the Spfl. Now, if you've been following this channel for a long time, we made a video 2 weeks ago, kind of addressing everything right up to the Dundee no vote that went missing. And then there's been, I mean, how do you even explain it, Stevie? It's just became, that was a comedy of errors, that right there. And somehow that's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, I see half the stuff that's coming out now and half the stuff that's getting said. Sometimes, I mean, I looked at that statement yesterday, which we'll come on to cover.
Yeah.
And I've listened to things, you know, like the Aberdeen owner, Cormac, saying a couple of weeks ago on Sports Sound. Every time somebody says something, it just seems to contradict or make the situation absolutely worse. Yeah. And it's important here. A lot of people have kind of asked us to clarify what's going on and give you a timeline. It's even difficult for us to try and understand and things like that. But if you journey back right to the very beginning, this all started because there was a resolution from the Spfl to ask the clubs to end the season now so that we could get money. Mm-hmm. All Rangers asked and asked to put forward another resolution was, well, let's not rush. Let's take our time. There's other ways to put the money out. Can we investigate that? Exactly. And, you know, we'll see what happens. The timeline then between that and the no vote, Rangers were given the runaround basically from the SPFL. And you know, it's quite well documented. Rangers have put it out in their statements and things like that. Mm-hmm. But since then, there's been this urge and this push, and they've turned it into a situation where it's the SPFL versus Rangers, which is completely wrong. The only thing Rangers have asked for is to carry on the season, to allow it to finish if we can. If we can't, then that's fine, you know. But it doesn't need to be decided in April.
Exactly.
Rangers' point, you know, Rangers aren't going to be sitting here in August saying, no, let's finish the season. It adapts and it will change, but at the moment there's no rush. Why is the rush to give out that, you know, to give out titles and championships and things like that? I mean, the second division decision with Raith Rovers and Falkirk and that is
incredible.
And I understand, listen, I understand we need to move forward and we need resolutions and the SPFL. We need to have a plan, but that plan doesn't need to be decided in April. And all Rangers asked was, well, we want to finish it on the pitch and let's just take our time. Let's give the money out. Why can't we do that? The money's there. Yeah. And they even clarified that they could do it. We don't need to put through a new motion for loans. It's already there. So this all goes back to that. And it's been turned into a situation where Rangers have been made out the bad guys. And it's an SPFL versus Rangers scenario. And all Rangers have done is ask that we take our time. What's so wrong with that?
That's the thing. For me, it's all been rushed and it's all been put forward. It's like they've got this narrow view of what they want, and they are just ignoring everything, and they're just steamrolling towards it. Like you said, Rangers were one of the most vocal ones, but it wasn't just Rangers. There's been so much, like you said, the Aberdeen chairman. That was quite a damning statement what he said, but that's been kind of pushed to one side, and it's been, let's focus on what Rangers have said instead. And that's kind of fell away to the wayside. You're not seeing that reported. You're not seeing that discussed because they've got a narrative that fits and appeases the half the Scottish football fans. You know what I mean? Maybe even more than that if you're looking at the other clubs and all that. And that's the view that they like. They think it's funny. They've turned into this narrative, and that's kind of where we are now. Rangers are the bad guys.
See the thing with that statement from Cormac and Aberdeen, saying that they were phoned and told your vote doesn't matter. Rangers have said that they're worried about cohesion, bullying, bribery tactics and things like that. Yeah. Now, who then phones up a chairman of the club and says, "Oh, we'll not get your vote, but by the way, it doesn't matter because it's through anyway." So they're then in a position, Aberdeen, where they maybe think, well, we were going to vote no. That'll maybe upset our fans because we don't really want to be siding with Rangers, even if they're right, because our fans don't like them and whatever. So it's a politics thing as well.
Oh, it's
and
clever.
And that happens. But they then phone them and say, look, it doesn't matter anyway. And they'll just go, well, we'll just vote yes because we'll just keep the peace or whatever.
Yeah.
Even if that's not the case, that's how it looks. And that just looks terrible. And all Rangers have asked then for, let's why can't this investigation be out in the open? Let's have it. And if you've got nothing to hide, then what's the issue? Because at my work, CJ, I get audited. I get people will come in and look at what we do, and they'll audit me and make sure that my audit trail is correct. I don't have an issue with that. It gives me a wee bit of vindication. I'm like, yeah, still doing all right. But you go, that's fine. I don't understand. I would never go, oh no, hold on, you're not doing it, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, because it makes you look terrible. So why is there this insistence now? It just, none of it to me. Every time that somebody speaks, every time that something is said, it just looks worse.
Yeah, and the whole thing is with the time as well, they're saying certain statements, like they said they originally received an email from Dundee saying to not cast their vote, and then a couple of hours later, with the next statement a couple of days later, they says their email was in the quarantine zone, and Dundee released a statement saying they didn't email. So it's like every 2 days someone else is saying into this Spfl, and if you put it all together, you're saying it's just a shambled mess. But like you said there, they've got a narrative that everyone's kind of ignoring to one side, and they're just staring at Rangers. But what you talked about, that investigation there, I think that's hilarious, because they've came up with this narrative now that why spend the money, why spend the time, why do this to get another investigation? But I'm like, if there's no problems, if everyone's fine on up and up, why are you scared to get a real investigation or another independent, open investigation, we should say? Because there's obviously one happened the other day. They just released the evidence. They didn't say what they were searching for, what they looked into. They just released a very, very narrow-minded search, and they went, we're all good. But the investigate can't pick his investigator.
I think that's key as well. And see, when you go on about money and you talk about we don't have money to do this, I understand that. Look, Scottish football, we are where we are with money and prize money and television. I get that. This is, remember, the SPFL, who haven't had a sponsor through their own doing for years and things like that. Yep. But we'll go back to the point about them saying they've got no money. It doesn't cost nothing to do an investigation by Deloitte, and it doesn't cost nothing to crisis management with PR firms and everything else. They're spending thousands of pounds doing that. They had an investigation, and I've seen some quotes this morning about, the releases and things they've done recently. And what they're basically saying is, yes, we made mistakes, but it's your fault we made them. And Rangers are saying, well, we know you've made mistakes. So if they're admitting you've made mistakes, why can't we just have it out in the open and learn going forward? Why can't we just cleanse the game, have a look at it all? This is what happened. This is a timeline. Why is there such a fight against that?
Exactly.
We've had made mistakes, and they admit it. Well, they said they made mistakes. Well, if they've made mistakes and they're saying it's because they're so short-staffed and it's understandable and things, well, fine, let's have a look at it then, because if it's understandable, then we'll know and we'll understand it. So let's look.
That's the whole point. I just do not understand this narrative at all, saying no money this, none of this, and then they go ahead and they've mentioned, like, obviously what's happening in the world right now. That's kind of the way they've mentioned it. There's a lot more pressing matters. Let's just get on with it. That's kind of what they're trying to push. That's the narrative, but you cannot come out and say that. For me, that just doesn't sit well with me. That's just almost emotional blackmail sort of thing. That's what it feels like. They're aiming towards saying, oh, there's all this, there's more of this, there's more pressing matters. Scottish football needs to just get on with it. That's basically what they're trying to say now, and it's, for me, that's just backing up my thought as I want an investigation. So why are they so fighting tooth and nail to stop an open investigation? Why are they even trying to stop this meeting with the clubs where Rangers have said they will release the evidence? For me, it's I find it so baffling.
I thought that was particularly crass to bring the situation in with regards to what's going on in the world, and as if that's some sort of reason for them to behave. Listen, we all know what's going on, and it's terrible. We're all in that situation. Yeah. But football is important to us. Rangers is important to us. It doesn't mean it's more important than anything else, but it might be the less most important thing, but it's still important to us. And I don't understand why you would say this is going on, so it doesn't matter that we've made mistakes, because this is going on, so we just can't look at it because we just can't. And I found that particularly crass. And the same way as them saying, the same way as I'm saying, you know, if you want to spend your own money, wasting your time looking at this, then you do it. We don't want to because it's so debilitating and it will cost us so much money. That's bribery. That's the things that Rangers have already said that they're complaining about.
Literally word for word.
Yeah. So Rangers have come out and said they're worried about coercion, they're worried about bribery. They want an open investigation. They've then got an investigation where they marked herself. It was Stephen Gerrard who says you cannot mark your own homework, and he's correct. And then using that tool of money, you know, if you want to waste your own money, it's like going into a shop with my wee boy and saying, oh, well, you've got £1 pocket money. If you want to waste it on that, then go ahead. But, you know, it's the way you would talk to a child. It was like adolescent behaviour. It was just, for me, as a governing body, to release a statement of that length is completely wrong. And then to release it in the tone, the condescending, talking down to you tone, was incredible. And those 5 or 6 members that signed it, the self-serving kind of attitude from them. You've got Motherwell who then get third.
Yep.
You've got Hamilton who avoid, you know, relegation. Alloa who avoid, and it's just, you know, we're not stupid. Football fans aren't stupid. We may be parochial in one vision. We're all Rangers. We understand that.
Yeah.
But don't condescend us and don't speak to us like that because it's wrong.
Absolutely, mate. And even just from, I'm kind of where I'm at the minute now is obviously I've got a main point of view what I want being a Rangers fan. That's where I kind of am, Stephen. But see, when I push that to one side, and I just look at it, if you look at this from just a footballing perspective, what's going on right now is so damaging to our game. It's unbelievable. And if we continue to allow it to happen, if we push it to one side, if we just move on, if we just blame Rangers for this and this, it's just going to happen again and again and again. And I've said for a wee while now, I think on the part Scottish football is probably stronger than it's been in a very long time, just looking at it as a league. But off the field, we are as weak as we've ever been. And it continually hurts the league. And that's, and I honestly thought when the Dundee thing came out and then they submitted their vote and it wasn't counted, I thought, right, this is them in trouble now. There'll maybe be some shake-ups and we'll maybe see Scottish football be forced to move forward. But they're kind of doubling down and they're getting their people around them again and they're turning it into a mob mentality versus Rangers when it just isn't Rangers that's stepping up and talking about it. But that's the narrative that's being used. There's other clubs backing Rangers, but again, that's all pushed to one side because they're making out their enemy and they've got one.
You've got to remember as well, we're a member club.
Yeah.
So we're allowed to say, like, hold on, that's not correct. You know, we have a grievance with that. We want to keep playing. We would like to offer another solution. And what's happened is we've just been like pushed aside, treated like dirt for questioning or even, you know, bringing it up.
Yeah.
What would people rather the Rangers board do, or the Rangers, you know, what would you rather we do in terms of let it happen and get walked all over, or stand our ground and say, right, this isn't correct. We would like an investigation into it. If you have nothing to hide, have it all over. Have it all open, because that's all we've asked. That's all we've done. Every time that the SPFL have spoken, every time that something's happened, it's just made it look even worse. So for me, if you've got nothing to hide, let us all look.
That's kind of the perfect quote, and that's what I've even was going to tweet out and everything when I seen the statements even the day coming out here where them questioning this and then maybe even trying to do a proxy vote to stop the meeting, all this stuff that could be potentially happening. It's just so baffling because if there's nothing wrong, then why are they trying so damn to just move on and get us on fair? It's not a Rangers versus this or this versus Rangers. It's a Scottish football thing, and they're just being completely just so narrow-minded in what they want that no matter what's going on elsewhere, they're just saying, nah, if you want to do that, that's fine. And their statement yesterday, Stevie, if I'm just being honest, I thought it was absolutely embarrassing.
Hey,
honestly,
that just goes back to how they kind of speak to us and how they treat us.
I was fuming.
As I said, I think it's terrible that a member club is now being ostracised and treated this way. And it's not like we've asked. See, when you actually look at what Rangers have asked, what have we asked that's so bad? We've not asked anything terrible. Rangers have got evidence, right? They've repeatedly said and repeatedly stated in their statements that they will release this. They will bring it to the table when they feel that that's right. So just to clear something up as well, I haven't seen this evidence. I don't want to see it. It's not to see. People ask me on the blog and stuff, have you seen it? I haven't seen it. But I'm assured by what the club have said in their statements that they have this evidence and they will release it. So let the club deal with it. Let them follow that process. The club are very keen to state that this isn't a short-term fight that they're in. It's a long-term thing. And people are talking about perhaps, stopping leagues getting handed out and things like that. I don't think that's a possibility. I'll be honest with you right now. I think that is a single-minded track which will happen.
Yeah, what Rangers
need and what Rangers want to know is that we have a governing body that's fair and equal-minded. Some of the underhand tactics that we've seen, some of the behaviours that are all out in the open, the coercion, the bullying and things like that. And that's not me or you being, I don't know, you look at it as a fan and you think the whole world's against you. That's not me and you thinking that. That's just us looking at everything that's came out, looking at things like Cormac's statement, looking at the stuff that the Inverness Caledonian Thistle, what he said on the radio. And you've got to understand this as well. See, when you get guys like Michael Stewart, Tom English and things like that saying, actually agreeing with Rangers, at some point there, you've got to. These guys don't like us. These guys hate us. There's no time for us to spend years going on about it. See, when they are starting to follow our chain of thought and say, do you know what, guys? Yeah, actually, Rangers are correct. Let's just have a look at it. Then you know that there's something serious going on.
It's kind of the perfect thing, that, because I'm getting, as you can imagine, for the video the other week that I made, I'm getting the other side coming in and laughing, saying, "Oh, you're paranoid." This. It's not about that. If you actually take a step away from your hatred of Rangers and your bitterness towards Rangers, if you just take a step away and you look at the full picture, this doesn't add up at all, Stevie. And that's all we're asking for people today, is just get away from the Rangers hatred, get away from no liking Rangers, and just look at all the stuff that's been said, all the statements, not just from Rangers, from the CEO for Inverness Caledonian Thistle. You even had Hearts at the start before they kind of got led down their own individual track with the Reconstruction. You had other statements that suit that. If you just look at everything and all the contradictions that's been happening, this stinks.
Completely. We haven't even talked about that in terms of the Reconstruction, where they put on the Reconstruction panel the teams that are about to be relegated, and then say, well, you come up with a solution then. And the only, imagine saying to Hearts, you're going to get relegated. If you don't, if this vote goes through, you're going to get relegated. But don't worry, we're going to put you in charge of making up the new league and the new structure. Oh, does that mean that we could maybe stay up? Yeah, absolutely. And then all of a sudden, since that's happened, you've not heard a peep from Ann Budge, you've not heard a peep from Hearts and things like that. That's wrong. I mean,
that's exactly what Rangers are talking about.
How bad does that look? And it goes back again to the points that Rangers have originally made and the points that we've originally brought up about coercion, bullying, bribery, these tactics that are wrong. And again, these are things that Rangers have actually said themselves. So this isn't us, again, kind of scaremongering or thinking the world is against us or whatever. These are things that are out and we're sticking to the facts that are there. See, as a football fan, it looks terrible. And even when you've got people on Talk Sports, Sky Sports, the biggest names, like soon as even Sir Kenny Dalglish, again, Celtic, big history and everything else with them, he's coming out and saying it. So I just don't understand in terms of why they've doubled down and digging their heels and everything else. The whole thing is just, to me, as a football fan, it's tiresome, it's boring. And I'm sick of our club being made look bad for everything we do when all we've done is asked for a fair, open inquiry and things like other teams have said, yeah, we want to finish the football season on the pitch and things, and voted no. So, I mean, or voted yes rather and pushed it through. So it's all right saying, we want to win stuff on the pitch and everything else. Why vote the way you did then? And it's just, it's tiresome, honestly. See, for me, I miss the days where we could just come on and complain about who's at right back.
That's the thing, mate. I'm missing it as well. Like every single day, I'm getting tweets and comments and messages saying, "Can you mention this? This has just come out." And it's like you honestly can't, Stevie. You can't just because within a couple of hours there's another bit, and then the next day there's 4 statements, and then it's like it's so messy. And that I've got a wee thing in my head. I'm saying there's that much stuff coming out, and you can't even piece it all together. You've not got time because by the time you try, there's another 4 other pieces, and it's so muddled that most people, I think, Stevie, it's just getting to that stage, and they're like, let's just move on. It's just almost like it's too much hassle now. And for me, that can't be the right way to go forward for our game.
I think the key thing we need to kind of say as well, before we kind of wrap this up and bore everybody, Rangers fans, whether they like it or they kind of like how the club have got a strategy, the club have got a process they're going to follow. They're not going to be rushed into releasing their evidence. See, as much as you get Keith Jackson and everything, this demand, we want to see this evidence and that, just ignore people like that. We've got the way we're going to go. There's no evidence getting released until we're ready, and we will release that to the clubs and we will play. But it's not like we're saying we never will. That's the key thing. And our key aim clearly here is to try and force honesty and transparency at the top of the SPFL. If there's nothing there, then no problem, we'll carry on. If there is something there, then let's change it and let's make it fair for everyone. That's all Rangers have ever kind of tried to ask out of this. Yeah. Let's finish the season on the pitch if we can, because it's only April, and all of this has been turned into us versus them situation, and it's farcical. And a lot of us, I think we're all tired of it now.
Yeah, it's an easy narrative today, man. It's the easiest one, and it's just been spun completely, and it's been well worked as well, because that's all it is now. It's Rangers. I'm even seeing fans from elsewhere coming in and saying, "Oh, Rangers moaning about this, Rangers moaning about that." It's not just Rangers, but like we said, there is a strategy in place there for the evidence. I know everyone's commenting, asking, "Just release it. Why did they not release it? You didn't just fire that out right away." They have said when they're going to release it, when that meeting is in place, and even the letter that came out today asking for the evidence. It's repeatedly from the SPFL. They know when they're going to get it. Rangers have said now 3 times, yet they keep doing that every day. Where's the evidence? Ask for the evidence prior, because that's an easy narrative to spin again, Stevie. But we'll kind of wrap up there, because we've got some questions from the people and all that as well. So we're just going to fire through these. Thank you to everyone who tweeted out, by the way, and fired in. So let's dive into the very first question then. And the first one comes in from Scott Johnson. He says, do you think SFA is hiding away because if they have nothing to hide, would they have not have just granted Rangers the meeting without any hesitation? That comes in from Scott.
I think that we kind of covered that a wee bit, don't we? I mean, yeah. The point, and it is, and a point to every kind of fair neutral person is, if they don't have anything to hide, let's just have a look. Why are they so against it if they don't? And I think that's kind of key point here. If I was a neutrally looking at it, I would think, just let them look, let them investigate, then we move on and go from there.
It's quite funny seeing, obviously, with Stephen Gerrard doing that Sky Sports interview, I think it was last week now. I'm getting some people from down south, because obviously Stephen Gerrard is a massive name. He's well respected and loved pretty much everywhere, especially down south. Well, apart from a couple of teams, but because he scored a couple of screamers against them. But I've seen people coming in my comment section saying, I just didn't understand what's going on. It's so funny to them. They're outside the Scottish bubble and they didn't really understand the way things work up here, Stevie, with the SFA and everything that goes on. So they're like, if there's this, you can't mark your own homework, like that fantastic line that he said. They're just like, he's full of right, why are we not doing this? It's just so funny to see the difference for me from people that live in Scotland and know, and we're obviously seeing with the way the league is, to people from the outside, especially in the English league, saying, this doesn't make any sense, just do an investigation. It's so simple for them. But the next one comes in from JGM3. He says, given the accusations and complexity this is now developing, why aren't UEFA or FIFA taking an interest?
I think Rangers will try and sort it the way they have. I think it's clear that Rangers have kind of intimated that they're prepared to take this as far as they need to go. So that tells me the strength of their investigation and the evidence that they've got must be big. So I would again just say that let the club process this how they think. And you either trust them or they don't. And I understand people won't. That's absolutely fine. I'm not pro board in terms of thinking that they're untouchable, but they've put themselves in a corner now. So let them process it and let them follow it through. I've got no doubts in my mind that Rangers, the evidence they've got, they'll take it to where it needs to go in order to try and implement change at the top of the SPFL. That's where it's going to be ending up.
Exactly, mate. And the fact that they've got the backing now from a couple of clubs, the fact that they've got a whistleblower and everything that's came and spoke to them, there is a damning evidence, but they're just not going to go far out. Yes, it's becoming a bit of a joke now about Rangers evidence, and it's been memed for fans for other clubs, but they are very, very strong in what they say. They have got damning evidence and they will use it at the right time. And it's a bit frustrating for some fans, but we need to wait for that time. because when it comes out, then we can judge the evidence. There's no point in doing it the new until we see and obviously heard it now. Chris Scott actually fires in a wee bit a different way, it looks like. He says, when will the club sack Stuart Robertson? Why are we being led by a complete clown who isn't fit to do the job? Will he support calls for Robertson's removal if this evidence is weak and just another humiliation for Robertson? So he's gone a wee bit a different way there with that one.
I think the thing is, listen, it's a fair question. And I think the whole of the board, and I put Douglas Park on, who's obviously in as interim chairman at the moment. Yep. If the board and if Stuart Robertson have went full out with this and kind of painted their or backed herself into a corner, and it comes out that it's a bluff or it's weak or anything else, of course there's going to be questions asked.
Oh yeah,
I think that's clear. I'm certainly not going to sit there and say everything's rosy and we back the club no matter what, and all they were trying to do was force change. Rangers have got the support behind them, and I think they need to follow that through. That's clear. But I'm also not in a position where I'm going to start shouting for resignations and things yet. Let's let it develop, in my opinion. Let's look at it, let's let it develop, and let's go from there.
Exactly. You can't call people even clowns or saying for people to get sacked until we see the way it's gone. You didn't go halfway through a story and then say what's going to happen at the end. You know what I mean? You have to wait there, then you reflect on it.
Yeah, I understand this point though, in terms of if it comes out and if it's if it is a bluff and if we look stupid, there's going to have to then be consequences.
Definitely.
What I think to that is, I don't think there's any way that Rangers would have went so strongly and been so firm. I don't think there's any way that the likes of Douglas Park, the likes of Stuart Robertson would risk everything on some WhatsApp messages or whatever. I think that might be involved in it. There might be a whole lot of things, but I don't see them going out with the way they have. And if they have, and if they look silly, then I think Chris has got a point. I think he's right. There will need to be recriminations at our side, but let's wait till it all develops first before we pass that judgment. If he's asking that if I will be critical and things like that, then of course I will. I think before and people that read the blogs as well, it isn't all sunshine and light. I criticise when I need to. Some of the most things that I've ever written, most reads and stuff, I've been critical stuff, and there's always people that say you're too harsh, you're not harsh enough, and it's difficult for us because we're stuck in the middle, and we do these things, and we like talking about Rangers, but I'm not going to jump in on this one. I need it to play out completely before I judge it and before I pass judgment and say that the board have my faith at the moment. I'm prepared to follow them and wait, see how it turns out.
100%, mate. When the first statement come out, they were saying that they've got some evidence and stuff like that. That's where I was kind of like, right. But then seeing the way they've backed it and they've continued their stand, Stevie, that makes me believe that they've definitely got something. I don't think they would be going through all of this and sort of making it such a worldwide news, having Steven Gerrard there, having other people making this thing to get all this spotlight on to then bluff. That would be some move. Again, I'm not confirming or denying that yet until obviously we see. But I don't think they would bring this massive spotlight on the football club, on the fan base for a bluff. Yeah, because what would be the end game in that? That'd be crazy. But anyway, that's us kind of discussed. Everyone, thank you so much for all the messages and all the people that's been diving in and asking over the last couple of weeks. Again, we've just been trying to have fun on the channel. We've been trying to entertain. I know some of you guys have been struggling. We've looked out, we've talked in messages, so we've been having a wee bit of fun playing the games. You've been laughing at my expense, but that's a wee 2-week update on what's happened since the last video, and that's here. So thanks, Stevie, for coming in here and carrying me through all this. You've been brilliant. But we're going to talk about a couple of happy things now. The first one is going to be a certain midfielder that's kind of stole all our hearts, and his name's Mr. Hagi. And this is a question I commonly get asked, even though I've answered it, Stevie, but I think people are just excited about it. Do you think Hagi will be a Rangers player next season?
Yes, but I'm not sure that we're going to pay out right for him. I'm not sure that... It may even be the current situation is, I think it's important that the current situation is kind of stated. We have an option to buy Ianis Hagi for around £4.3 million. Yeah. That can be activated at any point. It's due to run out, if I remember correctly, at July time.
Yeah, that's close.
So where we are and where Ghent are and where Ianis is himself is, everyone's happy and content not to rush and make a decision at the moment. I don't think anyone in football is going to be in the position to pay out £5, £6, £7, £8 million on players, not immediately. I think the way it might play out is it's waited until as late as possible. But the club have been in contact with them. Giannis was very quick. There was a paper article a couple of weeks ago about him apparently wanting to go to Lazio and things like that. He's been very quick to state that was rubbish, and he wants to stay here, and he's very happy at Rangers, and this is where he sees his future. If you look at Michael Beale's comments as well, he was very positive about Giannis Hagi and looking forward to working with him in the future.
That was the key.
I maybe overread that and look into it a wee bit more than I should, but to me, that's telling me that there's going to be an arrangement. You know, it might even be that we take him on loan again, and the agreement is there, and we progress it. But I'm quite confident, and I think we should keep him. I think he's a cracking player. I would like to see him get moved in number 10 kind of position, kind of moved there. But that's us talking about football. CJ, I'm not sure we're allowed to talk about.
No, I don't think so. It feels weird. That remember that's what we used to talk about all the time. His positioning. That was the big thing every week. I miss talking about that, Stevie. I do miss a bit. That was always the discussion. Right mid, the centre attacking mid. Even his dad's been very, very vocal, and even the stuff on Instagram. You've seen him having wee jokes if you follow him there. He has been continually talking about Rangers Football Club, Hagi on his Instagram. So I think it is all positive. But like you said there, I think it's not only Scottish football that's going to be affected with the transfer market. This is worldwide. I don't think you're going to see 200 million spent on this guy or this. I think there's going to be a lot of clubs affected badly because of this. And I think there's going to be a wee slight change in this transfer market where there's a slight leeway sort of thing. I think there will be more loans because I think more clubs are going to be trying to work and get their finances back under control. So, like as I've always said, I think it was a week ago since I last talked about Hagi. I think he will be at Rangers, but I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to be instantly bought. Like you said, it could be another 6 month loan then with a promise to buy or something like that. Again, I think it will be worked out between the two clubs because it looks like he's absolutely in love with the club, and that's great to see. And the Lazio thing that you pointed out as well was brilliant because that was such a hot story for them, and then he was quick to just go, wait a minute, that's not true. Yeah. Which I like. I like that. I like that, Stevie. Now, there is another player, another loanee who was very, very impressive in the second half of the season because there wasn't too much to be impressed about. Remember when we talked about football, Stevie? That was funny. Well, not the second half, but you know what I'm saying. But there was another player who was looking very dangerous and was impacting games whenever he was given an opportunity, and that was Big Flo Kamberi. What's your thoughts on him? Do you think he will be a Rangers player?
I've probably got a controversial view on Flo Kamberi in terms of I know a lot of the support like him. Yeah. I don't think he's a level that we need to be at. Mm-hmm. I think he's at the level where it might improve the squad overall and make a contribution of such, but I don't think he's where we need to be. I don't think he can go back to Hibs. I think he'll get chased from Hibs. So, again, there might be something in there where we perhaps, go back and extend it or whatever again, but I'll sound bad, but it's one that I'm not too kind of overly fussed about. I suppose it depends on what else we might do and how this whole thing's going to impact us. If he stays, great. If he doesn't, I'm a wee bit like, fair enough.
And that's just kind of 2 for 2 because I've also said I don't think Kamberi will stay, even though I'm kind of on the flip side of you, as I would like to see him given another chance because it just added a wee bit of difference, like the height, the ability to play in the wing and all that as well. I quite liked him as just an impact option to bring on, something a bit different that we can throw in the park when things aren't going our way. But I don't think he will come.
I was going to say he reminded me a wee bit, and it's polar opposites. But remember when we were so bad and Haris Vukic kind of
Newcastle.
He done really well with us, but ultimately didn't stay. Well, Kamberi has been performing okay. He's been doing well in a team that's not playing well, so he looks a wee bit better. So I would like to see how he got on in that team that went to Easter Road and won 3-0 just before Christmas. They were excellent, scored some great goals. Let's see how he would do in that. So as I said, I'm not overly fussed. Without being too disrespectful or anything about it. If it stays, great. If he doesn't, then it's one of those ones for me.
The one thing I think we can agree on, Steve, is that the Hibs option's off the table after that Rangers TV interview. That was one of the best Rangers interviews I've ever seen, by the way. Can I just say that? Like, whether he ever plays for Rangers again, he will be remembered for that interview for a long time for what he said against Hibs. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes next. An interesting thing. Now, another question I've actually been asked, just there checking my notifications, is about a player that kind of went in the opposite direction. Do you think there's maybe an option for Greg Docherty? because we all saw how well he done in the 8 games. He scored 8 goal contributions for Hibs. Do you see anything from Greg Docherty? Do you think he's going to come back and have a chance at the club?
No.
I think not, unfortunately.
I love Greg Docherty, I really do. I think he's a cracking player. He's somebody that's been very good to me personally. A quick story on Greg. My mum passed away 2 years ago, and my old man has got a real affinity for Hamilton. And Greg found out and sent my old man up a signed Hamilton strip, a wee note saying, sorry to hear about what's went on. You know, I hope this will bring you a wee smile, kind of thing. And he was absolutely brilliant with us, and I met him before, and he's a great guy. I would love nothing more than him to succeed. And the only reason I don't think he has a chance is because he doesn't seem to be getting one. He was back last summer after a great spell down south.
Phenomenal.
That would have been the time for him, I think, to kick on. But the club have kind of kept him 6 months. He's never really got anywhere. And then he's went out again on loan. That tells me there's not really much there for him. I would love to see him go down south and smash it and do really well down there, because he's certainly got the ability. I would love to see him get a chance. I just honestly don't see it happening.
I'm glad you say that, because I always get flack when I say that, and I absolutely love Greg Docherty, and I always, like, even in like all my computer games, I always have him amongst the squad. I love the guy, but as I said the other week there, I just don't think I think he doesn't fit what Gerrard wants from a midfielder. Whether that's right or wrong, or what he can bring, for me, the fact that he did play Player of the Year at Shrewsbury, won all these plaudits from the English pundits, we're all talking him up for his FA Cup run. He came in, sat on the bench for 6 months. I can't say it all. No even getting a sniffing opportunity in the middle of the park.
Well, we get criticism for whatever we say, so I mean, it doesn't matter. But
that's true.
I look at it more logically. Like, my heart says, you know, I'd love to give him a shot, but then you look at it, he hasn't had one. I'm not sure how that would change. It might be that this situation forces us to maybe change our squad a wee bit. It's one of the ones that gets a chance, because if he gets a chance properly, I do think he would flourish. But we're also in a situation with Rangers where we don't really have 10, 15 games to give somebody to get a chance. So it's one of these ones where love to see him stay. I think we both think that. But head kind of tells us from what we've seen, it doesn't look likely.
And now we've got one other loanee who's got a lot of affinity with the fans that absolutely love him to death, like myself. That's big Ross McCrorie. Now, the lad, there's been some rumours about moves and everything like that. There's been a lot of rumours about moves. Now, he played pretty much every position, Stevie. I'm sure you're aware of this, for Portsmouth. Left back, right back, centre mid, CDM. Even played a wing on a substitute appearance. He certainly had a... I don't think it was the loan a lot of us were expecting, playing week in and week out, but he certainly won some of the Portsmouth fans. They absolutely love the effort and the work rate. But what do you think about Ross McCrorie? Do you think the man has a future at the football club?
Again, it's a bit like Greg Docherty for me, because he should have kicked on at the times where he was in our midfield and we were beating Celtic, and he was doing really well. And Ross, again, is capable. I think Ross is guilty of being perhaps too versatile, and he's not found the one position where he's really, really good at. I think he needs to be better on the ball to be a midfielder with us. I don't think he's a good enough centre back. Right back in the future might be one, and he has played there, and we know he's been playing there for Portsmouth. Yeah. So that's a bit of a conundrum. I don't have any insight into that. I'm not sure where it's going to go with Ross. It's one of the ones, if he stays and kicks on, then great. Also got to remember as well that he's a homegrown player in terms of Europe and what we want to do with squad sizes and things like that. That's full manager hat on as well there, mate, for the homegrown stuff. So I'm not convinced he'll go, but I'm not overly convinced he's a first team player yet.
He's just positionally everywhere. He plays everywhere for a club, and I think that is hurting his career now, because it was great when he was real young, and it was great to just stopgap. But now, when he's expected to play games, you want him learning and getting position and even maturing in a role. But he's so flexible. For Portsmouth, it was unbelievable. See, when I was doing my loan reports, I was like, great, 2 weeks at left back, 1 at CDM, the other 3 weeks at right back. It was mental. I couldn't believe it.
Older people might remember John Brown when he first came to Rangers at the end of the 80s. Bomber played left back, he played midfield, he played defensive mid, he played even left wing sometimes. With Dundee, he banged in hat-tricks against Rangers and everything. But it wasn't until 4 years into his career that he settled at centre-back next to Richard Gough, Dave McPherson on the right, Davy Robertson on the left. and that's when Rangers started 4 or 5 in a row, really successful in Europe and things like that. Sometimes it takes people a wee bit longer just to nail that proper position down, like Bomber did. He finished his career as a centre half. Might be that Ross McCrorie samples a wee bit of everything before focusing on right back and flourishing. Ross McCrorie is a good player and he can flourish, absolutely. It's maybe just a wee bit of putting him out on loan, getting experiences, and then see where it takes us.
100%. I remember Bomber was telling that story about when he scored the hat-trick. He went home and his dad and everything, his family wasn't happy with him. Remember when he scored against Rangers?
He told that overnight, didn't he? So
yeah, that's right. I remember that. What a man indeed. That's a good wee comparison. Hopefully he can go ahead and have a career half as good as that. I think he'd have done very, very well, Ross McCrorie. But that's us kind of regarding the individual players and the people that's been asking about that on the tweets. So thank you so much for that. Now, there is one other thing about the old season tickets that some people's been asking questions about, and I know that's something you've kind of addressed before. So what's the news about the season tickets that you can give the people watching?
Not a lot, really, CJ, in terms of, I know they're imminent. I would expect them out any minute.
Yeah, maybe next.
And it's a really difficult situation for everybody. I'm worried about it. I'm worried about what our uplift is going to be. But I think the thing is that, you know, it's very possible that we're going to be paying for season tickets. That means that we don't get to watch the team until later on. But and it's not for staunch points, it's not for anything else. But see for me, and we've had this discussion in here in the house, we've got 3 season tickets for the kids and stuff like that myself. I will renew, and I'm not asking for anything from the club back. I'm not asking for anything. I'll get to go when I get to go. And if I'm then making, you know, a donation to keep the club tiding over and things, then I understand that. But I also understand people that can't. If you can't, there's more important things like your family. I understand all that. I'm not going to, it's a really emotive subject, and I'm not going to be spending too much time on the blog or things covering about it, because I don't want to come across as being like uber staunch and putting the guilt trip on people.
Exactly.
Just think that if you can, brilliant, support the club, absolutely magic. Let's all get behind it as best we can, if we can. If you can't, then all I would say is let's try and get you back as soon as you can. And I hope that we try and help. I hope that we offer different kind of forms of play or paying. I hope that it's spread over kind of more time, and I hope the club are sensible about how they do it. But I also think, and I've always said for people and things like that, any season ticket stuff should come from the club. These things need to come out, and the club needs to lead the fans and be honest with the fans and things like that. So we know it's imminent, we know it's coming. Club 1872 said last week that it's coming out and things like that. So it's just a case of waiting. I just hope that people maybe who do miss out or can't renew, maybe find a way to do it and get back supporting the club soon. It doesn't make anyone less of a fan if you cannot renew. We're all in this together, we're all one. So I just hope that we can get through it. People renew as much as they can, and then we move on.
That's exactly it, because I've seen some people tweeting, and even when I've been doing my live shows and stuff like that, people worrying about it or anything like that. Do you think this is going to... Don't worry about what we may look to other people. We all know the situation we're in. Everyone's affected by this massively financially. It doesn't make you any less a fan if you've got to prioritise your family or anything like that. That's just life and everything like that. So do not stress about it. Don't worry yourself or anything like that. Again, we don't know anything about whether the club's going to do this or this. I'm just hoping that there's a certain plan in place. It's a wee bit different. It is tweaked and it's able to help people, because I'm sure with the people that's firing at me, Stevie, I'm sure you're getting quite a lot of people messaging. They're actually genuinely really worried about it. They are worried about it. And
I'm worried about it, mate. I think we all are, in terms of costs and the uplift and what it means for the club and things like that. And I think this is where, as I said, I think club needs to lead with this. They need to come out and give us as much information. Tell us their plan of uplift. If we only get a certain amount, what will that mean? Things like that. So it's just it's one of a number of things that's kind of going on. And I also understand the club needs to plan and they need to go forward with it. It would be great if they could do it a different way or ask, but I don't think that legally. I don't think we can ask for donations and things like that. I don't think that's how it works. So for us, we need to get the season tickets out. We need to do it. I just hope that I would like to think that this time next year, if anybody does miss out, they'll all be back and we'll all be supporting our team. So I think that's the most kind of important thing. If you can get behind it, please do, absolutely. if you can't, I'm not going to criticise it. You just said it. Let's just get you back watching as soon as we can. That's the most important thing.
Stevie, that's been some chat. I mean, we did say it was going to be a certain video for us to come in and talk, and by God, that's nearly been 50 minutes there, and it feels like that.
It's just Rangers, isn't it? I mean, I started off, and you maybe started off doing your thing, and we never thought that it would get to where it's been. But people just love our club, and we want to talk about it. We love content and things like that. I think people forget we're just fans as well, and that, you know, it's difficult for us too. So you know what, I miss the football, I miss the club. I hope that this nonsense gets cleared up, because it's becoming draining on all of us as a support. And I support the club and I back the club, and just hope that come the end of it, everything works out.
Absolutely, mate. It's one of the things we both. I can remember when I was getting like free views of videos, and I got 2 likes on a video, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I never expected us to get to this situation. We are just fans. Some people forget it and say, oh, you should be saying this or you should be thinking that, but we're just fans, and we just wear our hearts on our sleeves. We love our football club, and we come out and talk about it. And that's kind of the way that it's always been on the channel. We're very, very lucky to be both in the situations that we are. I don't think either of us take it for granted. I know you very well. You've always been the same, even though you are the go-to guy now, which is incredible. I'm really happy for you.
That's difficult as well, because, you know, it's I never set it up to become what it's become or what it's perceived at. I think people think that it's a club account. People think that you know, I have contact, and I don't. I'm a fan the same as everyone else. Can I now go and ask? Oh yeah, I can, but it doesn't mean they say, oh, you know what, Stevie, yeah, this is what we do. Most of the time, you know, I'll get told the same as everybody else. So I do my best. We try and discuss it and things like that. And yeah, do I make mistakes? Yeah, absolutely. Do we? You know, am I too harsh sometimes? Is it a fan view too quickly? Things like, yeah, of course it is, but I do my best. It's difficult. Like, I watch your stuff and come off and think, oh, you've done so well, and people are having a go. And how difficult it is. Like, so. But one thing I would say is I've had such a ball doing the podcast and talking to ex-players. You and I both know who I spoke to this morning, which is massive. It's so exciting. That'll be out the week after next. We have Stuart McCall, second part of his interview going out tomorrow, and it's fantastic. It's talks about his management of the club, and it's so honest, and it's one of those ones, you know, where you listen to something and you feel sorry for somebody in terms of what they tried to do and the difficulties they faced. It's so honest and candid. It's really, really good. We've got Maurice Ross next week. We had Maurice on yesterday, and Maurice challenged us. He said, give me a podcast I've never done before, because I've done lots on open goal. I've done this before, so do something different. So instead of asking Maurice Ross, tell us about the cup final win, we asked Maurice Ross, the cup final, we won 3-2. What was your tactical view that day? What was your instruction? What did you have to do? So it's a wee bit of a different insight into it, which is really good. We've got Bob Malcolm. We've got him on Friday night. We're doing that. He's a really nice guy as well, really good. And then we've got speaking to Gavin Ray as well coming up. Another really interesting one, because he went through everything with Paul Le Guen and things like that. So it'll be good to hear what he's got to say. And we've got a couple of what I consider to be really massive names that, you know, we'll keep under our hat for now coming up as well. So they're going to be good ones. So maybe we'll let you shout that out next week or something, but they're going to be cracking ones anyway. So.
Absolutely, mate. Like I said, I'm really buzzing for you and everything that you're getting and the position that you find you, because you definitely work your arse off, man. You've always just been really honest and raw, and you're just a Rangers fan, and that's probably why we get on so well. But anyway, that's us going to be ending this video right here. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to say before we wrap up, Stevie?
No, I think that's it. I just want to wish everybody that watches this, all the Rangers fans and any fan that watches it, there's more to football than what's going on. I hope everyone keeps safe. I hope everyone looks after their family. If anyone wants to come and talk to us and ask us a question, always try and find out the answer. Keep supporting fan media. I think that's really important. Clubs out 1872 have changed the way the club look at that now. So there's going to be opportunities for us to do things with the club in the future. Speak to players, speak to managers and everything else. Although I've warned them they maybe shouldn't let me speak to Steven Gerrard, but
They'll not get you away from him, Stevie.
I know that. So, as I said, I wish everybody all the best and take care during these times. And if anyone ever needs anybody to talk to or things like that, come and speak to us, and we're here.
Oh, absolutely, mate, absolutely. We like to say we're the nation is on here. That's what we kind of do here, and it's just great to see people talking and interacting with each other. I'm very, very blessed. Like I said, it's never my channel. This isn't me. It's the community that's been built there, and it's the back and forth and everything like that. So we've always been really great that way. So exactly, if you ever need anything, jump into the comments or hit us up on Twitter, DMs, Instagram, whatever. And we're always there to talk about. And last up, mate, want to tell them where they can find you on it tonight? I'm sure they all know by now, but just in case they don't know. Can they
well, they can find the blog at, just type in 4LADSHADADREAM.blog. It'll take you to it, and they'll find us on Twitter, 4LADSHADADREAM. And most of the people think, there's 4 or 5 of us. It's just me. It's just me. I'm the only one that does it. I'm the only one that can answer. So people always go, thanks, lads, and things like that. It's just so if I miss a question or I miss something, it's because I've just missed it because there's so many people kind of doing it or that. But where you can find us. You can find the podcast on Jersnet. Stuart Franklin and the boys host it over there because I don't know how to do this. Remember trying to get me to log into this at the start. I don't know how to do podcasts and things. So the boys help me with that, and they host it. So if you go and find us, you can type us in to Spotify and Apple and all these things, and just type in Jersnet. You'll find all the interviews. We've had some great ones with Alex McLeish recently, Ian Ferguson, Stuart McCall. So and we're gonna continue to do this, aren't we? I'm going to drop in every now and then. Absolutely. And we're going to get you in on the podcast. So let's see what we can do. We'll keep in touch and things. So
that's brilliant, man. So that's Jersnet as well. Go ahead and check them out, lads. Make sure you be subscribing and helping the lads out there. And as always, I've been Sage over 92. That's been Stevie from 4 Lads Had a Dream. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.